Michaela Vernava along with Bruins legend Bobby Orr, and we are in a super cool suite in the Ames Hotel. We are going to talk about that in just a couple minutes. First, I want to dive in to a little bit of what's going on in the game of hockey right now. When you have a defenseman who obviously has attacking skills, how important, vital is it to find just the right pair?
Well, you mean if you got an offensive guy and you might need a defensive guy to stay back with him? I mean, I can go back. I think this is what you mean. The question you're asking. But, you know, the guys that I played with, they knew that I might go down the ice. So it's important that your teammates understand how you play and accept it. And someone has to cover for you. So it's just an understanding with the players. If you've got that offensive guy, you know, one of the forwards that late guy has to maybe drop back. So it's just an understanding and talking with the players.
What makes a guy willing to be that type of player, that type of stay-at-home defenseman?
Well, I mean, I played with there. You want to see those guys over there? You got Ricky Smith over there. I'm looking at the photo. You got Gary Doak, Billy Spear, Dallas Smith, Don Ory. Those guys, they weren't big offensive defensemen. That's just the way they play. But were they effective? Yes, very effective. And I played with most of them. And I played a little differently than they did. They understood it. And obviously the forwards understood too. Sometimes they had to cover for me.
Well, Charlie McAvoy was certainly effective in his debut. What were your impressions of him?
I was impressed with Charlie. Right out of the chute, he didn't look like a player that was just playing his first game in the NHL. But Charlie, we look after Charlie. He's one of our kids that we would look after. He's a wonderful young man, great family, and he knows he's got to work this summer. He doesn't think he has it made. He knows how tough it's going to be next season because he has to repeat, and Charlie will be ready next year. But, you know, you look at it, Carlo should be better. You know, Krug is, you know, the big guy. He's a big body. So if you look at the Bruins, they're not that bad. They're, you know, they got some good forwards. You know, injuries plays a major role with every team, and if you can stay healthy, you can do a heck of a lot better.
They're certainly not that bad, had a chance in the playoffs this season. What do they need to do to take that next step next season, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think we saw in the playoffs and at the end of the season some of the prospects that came up and played, and hey, they've got a chance. You know, Carlo's got to be better, McAvoy's got to play. You know, Passionus got to play, the Bergeron, all those guys have to play at the top of their games. If the players like the Bergerons, the Krejcis, and if they play at the top of their game, everyone else is going to follow. So if they play at the top of their game, the kids will follow, and they'll be fine. But the big guys have to play. If you look at the Stanley Cup champions, the big guy played, Sidney played, and everybody followed, and that's what it takes.
Just sticking with defensemen, blue liners elsewhere in the league, Erik Karlsson has also been very effective, so much so that there have been comparisons to you. You're already chomping at the bit. What are your impressions of Erik Karlsson? I saw you light up as soon as I saw
But Erik's a good example of a player that plays a style that many coaches didn't like, but they let him play it. That was the same as when I came. I played a style that coaches didn't like. They want you to stay back and just move the puck. And, you know, Paul Coffey, you know, there's so many players, and if you look at the Stanley Cup winning teams, not many of them win without that guy back there creating from behind. With the exception of the Pittsburgh Penguins, they lose their best defenseman in Letang, one of the best defensemen in the league, and they still win. But, you know, when you start off with Sidney and Malkin and a whole bunch of guys that work their tails off, that's success. And
going to ask you a little bit more about the Penguins in just a sec. Just want to follow up on Karlsson. You are still the only defenseman to win the Art Ross Trophy. Do you see Karlsson maybe being that next guy?
He puts a lot of points up. As long as he stays healthy and he continues to be allowed to play the way he plays. And he moves that puck so well. He jumps up so well. He's up in the play all the time, and I like it. I mean, I love to watch him. I like those guys. Raymond jumped up there a lot too, but I like him. Yeah, I think he could. I mean, he had it going for a while this winter, and who knows?
Well, the current winner, Connor McDavid, a guy who your agency represents, what do you see in his future, just seeing what he's been able to do so far in his very young career?
I see a lot. I think Connor's going to be pretty good. He's I don't know if I've ever seen a player like with the skating with the puck. A lot of times when players can skate, but when they get the puck, they slow down a little bit. But he's so quick. I mean, he gets outside or he gets a step on you. Man, the kid's speed. I've never seen anything like that. But he's a young man, got a ways to go. He's going to get better. He's a great young kid. Works hard, knows what he has to do to stay up there, and he's not going to let up. He wants. See, I literally believe we all have these levels that we play at. Sidney's up here, and other players are here. Play at your level, And Connor McDavid's up here. He knows and wants to play at that level every night. He's not going to play down here often. He'll have bad games, as Sid has a bad game here and there. Not many, but they do. But he wants to play at his level all the time. And if he plays at his level, the other players will follow. And they all can't play at that level. Nobody in the playoffs played at Sid's level. But that's Sid's level. But you have your level and play at it consistently. And if you do that, you're going to have some success.
You keep referencing Crosby. What does it do for his legacy that he's now won his third cup?
I was sitting after they won. If you go back 2 years ago, they win the Stanley Cup. He was the MVP. And they played through June. Middle of August, they go for the World Cup. They win the World Cup. It's MVP, Sidney Crosby. They go into this year's playoffs. They start, as soon as he finishes the World Cup, he goes into the season. Stanley Cup and MVP, Sidney Crosby. I think that says a lot. I think that says a lot.
Certainly does. And now, with your legacy and the legacy of the Big Bad Bruins, let's get to this super cool suite that we are in. When you were playing, would you have imagined that you'd have a hotel suite named after you?
I used to sit in Perry Sound and say, I'm going to have a room at the Ames on Courtston. No. My friend Jeff McIntyre, whose company manages this property, came to me 2 years ago about doing a theme room, and I said, no. I don't want to do that. So he's very persistent, and I agreed to it, and I'm happy I did. It's been a lot of fun here today, and looking at some old photos. A lot of my friends, my teammates are here. The one wall has got every player that I ever played with, and one player played one game, and you got to go figure it out. He's on the board for one game.
Joe Junkin.
Who told you?
I knew.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
We're not Richard Johnson squealing. He's the only guy that knew.
I knew.
Joe Junkin was a goalie, yes, and I played one game with Joe.
You seem to really beam with pride when you talk about that wall and these pictures. What did those teammates mean to you?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you see the one out with Derek and Phil and me. I mean, two friends, but they meant so much in my career. You see Teddy Williams out there. I became a fishing buddy of Teddy's, and I really enjoyed it. I just wish I could have done more with him. But, the 70s, all our defense corps in the 70s. You got Andre the Giant over here, and you got trophies over there. It's really nice to see. It's fun. If you're a hockey fan or a hockey junkie, you might want to come in and take a look.
What do you mean when you say you wish you could have done more?
I'm sorry?
You said you wish you could have done more with him. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I just wish we could have. When WHA came in, we started losing them. Derek, wish I could see them more. We're all on different ends of the country. That's all I meant. But we had fun. They're great friends, and happy to have them on the wall.
What do you think it is about that team that still resonates now, decades later, so much so that people would want to come to this suite, and fans are still very much fans of yours?
Well, we're pretty good. It's a pretty good hockey city, and the group that we had in that period were very personable. We were out everywhere. We were out doing clinics or in stores or whatever we were doing. So the fans really could be with us all the time. They kind of thought, we were really a part of them, and they thought they were a part of us, which we loved. And the fans were very good to us, and we had characters, and the people enjoyed them.
And lastly, this suite will be helping benefit the Bobby Orr Hall of Fame in Ontario. Yes. What does that mean to you?
It means a great deal. We're in a small community, and it's all fundraising, and I try to do my best to keep it nice, keep it operating, and this is very important. And a big chunk of the proceeds from the room will go to the hall in Perry Sound, and it's certainly going to help it out.
Bobby, thanks so much for talking with us. I really appreciate it.
Have a good season.